So with people figuring out the new patch, there's one thing that's become for certain, and that is that Lin Fei is absolutely disgusting and broken right now. I mean, with the 9 decks especially, this Legend's just madness. So in the most recent patch, yes, you probably guys saw Cannon and Katars did both get buffs, right? They weren't necessarily the craziest buffs in particular. I mean, they were better than people realize, I think, but they weren't like anything major, right? It wasn't like they were like adding a ton of like stun to a move. They weren't adding a bunch of like recovery frames or taking recovery frames, right? They weren't doing anything on paper that seemed major, but the two changes they made, one being D-Light on Katars. Now, D-Light on Katars, basically, you're not going to be able to ever escape D-Light recovery, which is huge because before there would be weird angles and options you could do, like you could fast fall basically out of a D-Light recovery, and that was really bad for Katara players because that basically meant, okay, I am not, you know, ever really guaranteed a kill off of my D-Light when, you know, when technically they should be. And then the next thing is Cannon. Cannon did get +1 sidelight, or the range of the stun on sidelight got increased by 1. So now the max is higher and the minimum is also higher for what you can get. And basically what that allows is now Cannon sidelights, I'm pretty sure in a lot of cases, it's not going to be jumpable. And that is scary because now that opens up the window for Cannon 0 to Death to be back and be a completely like new thing you have to worry about in the current meta, and that is extremely scary. And Lin Fei as a whole, I mean, the 9 decks already, right? With Cannon, not only now is there the 0 to Death opportunity off of literally 1 dodge, especially depending on the map. Now with Lin Fei, you have to really be aware about the fact that she can also hit 3 moves true on Cannon. I don't know how true this is in general. That might be a rather common thing. I'm no Cannon guru, but you can do D-Light, side air into recovery at around orange health. But I think that's literally at the bottom of the barrel for this character. I think the next thing that's important to talk about is the fact that, yeah, with Katars being buffed over time, and even last patch, Lin Fei was kind of a sleeper pick, just because on Katars, she has certain things that are available that other Katar characters simply don't. Right? Not only are you going to be able to hit certain combos a lot easier and more often because she has like the extra dex, and that is very nice. But now with Lin Fei, you can hit dare into Enlight True. Obviously, I didn't reach the ground, but if you touch the ground with your dare, that can happen. You can hit the Enlight True, and that's really, really good, right? That's a better like setup, I would say, for the most part. Also, earlier healths, you're going to be able to get recovery into recovery True, which is, I mean, that's just insanely good to be able to have something like that. That's like, I'm pretty sure Lin Fei exclusive. Again, both these weapons, right? Katars in particular, I'm kind of like interested in learning about, but I mean, I don't know. Cannon, if I'm off on some of these numbers, then I'm just giving this disclaimer as well. Both these weapons I'm not an insane expert with, even though I have played them. But she's one of those rare cases where Dex actually feels like it does something, right? And that's like, you know, that's, first of all, that's insanely rare. But second of all, when Dex seems to matter, it seems to matter to a very high degree. And on this character, I mean, it's only amplified by the fact that I think probably her biggest strength is, yeah, she's got some kind of exclusive things because of the Dex. She feels just overall very smooth. Both the weapons are very explosive in play. But then you have SIGs that are actually light attacks. If you can punish moves like this, I mean, you have to have like a spear D-Light or just something on your kit, on the character, that can deal with it. It doesn't matter that she has 3 strength. When you have moves like this, I mean, her SIG like that on certain maps, like given that overall the map hitboxes are smaller now, it's pretty crazy because you can do, you literally can do like a kill with side SIG at Brawlhalla on, I think, 120, maybe 130, and I mean, yeah, you might be saying, oh, well, there's characters that killed earlier. Well, done. That, I mean, that's like always going to be the case. You can always say that. There's like always a character with more attack. There's always a character with this or that. Maybe not always, but I think you get my point. Like, it's not apples to apples, and it's like her whole reason why people could say she's weak, because she has speed. I'm pretty sure she has 6 or 7 speed. That's plenty. That's like fine, especially with these 2 weapons, especially with cannon in hand. You're just able to fly around, zip around. It doesn't even matter. The point I'm making is, though, that her weaknesses are simply just covered by the fact that she has such hard-hitting and such quite straight-up just broken signatures. I mean, I think the Sig, like the N Sig, should be pretty quick, but I don't know if it should have, like, less strength or something. I mean, maybe you can give it some more recovery frames, because it is pretty absurd to basically have a light attack like this. Like, it doesn't make that much sense, but at the same time, you know, 9 dex is a lot of dex in the game. You know, you can't really go much higher than that. So I can understand why they've like kept the Sig relatively the same, but then you have moves like that where it just feels like, I mean, they're so potent. Like I said, you can use all of them. You can mix them up into like your combos and stuff, and they can feel really, really good, especially on Katars, right? You can do like Sidelight into like a side Sig, and D-Sig, great at edge guarding, right? You can get gimps from it. I mean, what's another one? They're all good like chase down tools, and they all offer like unique spots and possibly unjumpable spots, right? That they dodge out of, but I'm pretty sure you can do D-Light into N-Sig, and if they have no dodge, right, and you're stringing, like, it's a good option. Also, I mean, you're seeing them dodging, and yeah, they are moving like back into it, but that's like really good. The fact that it lingers as long as it does, it's really, really hard to like fight against that. They also don't have much recovery time either, so that makes it really, really nice. And I think just the icing on the cake of it all is the fact that, dude, I honestly think this crossover is like disgustingly broken. It is so good. It's like, it's ridiculous. I mean, Sakura is just like, I mean, what is it, the magnum opus? Isn't that like the best? I think this character, this crossover, is one of the most disgusting in the game. And now the fact that Lin Fei's meta, I mean, I can only bet people who were playing Lin Fei, like, oh, I just, you know, I like Lin Fei, I just play her for fun, whatever. Well, now, if you're actually planning on like playing the character in tournament and like, I don't know, trying to really see some success with the character, because this is Lin Fei's patch. You know, when I made that Dusk video, I was talking about how last patch, that was a Dusk patch. This is Lin Fei meta, if anything, and it's going to be interesting to see how many people are actually picking the character up, right? You already have Guichibao, who got top 8 in Springs, I believe, and then also, I believe you have Luna, who literally won with Lin Fei, and that was in the AJ Moore Man Award tournament, which is a community tournament, but everyone was playing in it. I also think one thing about Lin Fei, and it definitely stems from the fact that the stats are actually, I mean, kind of enjoyable to play. It's the fact that this character has such, you know, high dex, and it makes it feel good to just rush down, like, right? It's a mix of high dex where you get some pretty insane benefits, but then also, you're going to be getting, like, the ability just to kind of chase down more because you have slightly above average speed. You have 6 speed when you take dex stance, which you should always be taking dex stance. I mean, if you're taking defense, right, like defense is her weakest stat, because in nowadays with some of the characters out there, 4 defense really isn't a lot. But man, is it worth getting 5 defense if you're gonna have 2 attack? Like, I personally do not think it is at all. They say there's diminishing returns, but the returns you get for 9 dex are just straight up undeniable, to say the least. I mean, I feel like you're not really going to notice the kill, like, time difference, right? The time to kill, TTK, because of, like, all the options that this character has. It's just a fun character to play. I'm definitely going to be considering Lin Fei as a pick. I still think, like, my best bet would be simply playing, like, Spear or Spear, Sword, or Gauntlets, but I would like to have just, like, a new pick that I really can, like, commit myself to and, like, see myself playing. And I don't know, dude. Lin Fei is looking like a possibility, because like on other characters, I feel like I just can't do that. And it feels good. On Katars, it feels really good to chase down. I mean, also imagine on Cannon, the 0 to deaths that you can get, it's going to feel so insane. I mean, this character's lagless. Like, nothing feels better than a character where you can just kind of throw stuff out and force them to always being like, force your opponent to basically play to the beat of your drum, right? Like, you're always commanding pace because you simply can throw out like double their moves. That's such a good feeling. And yeah, you might die early, but I mean, really, the only thing I can say there is, I mean, just have a skill difference at that point. If you are simply better than them, this character is gonna be even like, it's gonna be even harder for them to fight, because not only is it like, oh, there's these silly little things and the only hope they have is to kill you, but now if you know how to play into the person, they're gonna be hitting you less, so that means the one weakness is gone, and it's like, dude, okay, now I'm not only playing a broken character with a broken crossover, I'm just a beast on it, so it's like amplified 10 times over. But that's my video on Lin Fei. This character is definitely up there at the top of the meta. I mean, there's other weapons, right? And I'll talk about them. I've been thinking about making a great sword video because that weapon's broken, but not like in a way I think people think I mean. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Peace, guys.